Okay, so I want to hear your explanations of this. So what's your understanding? So why would you say there are more? It's a higher probability if you have the ace of spades to have a second ace than if you just have at least one ace.
So if you have at least one ace, it's a lower, like it's a higher probability of actually meeting that requirement. But then you have more cases to choose from, like on the bottom. So that gives you like a total lower probability meeting that. But if you have just the ace of spades, you have actually a lower probability of meeting that initial requirement. But then you have less cases to choose from. So that gives you a higher probability.
Okay, and what would you say?
So I'd say so each case, well, because you have a lower initial probability of your first condition being met for the ace of spades, that's going to result in a higher initial condition, or higher secondary condition. So it's kind of, I guess kind of an analogy would be like if you had like a dot somewhere on a circle and you could restrict it. So if you restricted it less in the first step, then you have more area left in the second step. But if you restricted it more in the first step, you'd have less to look at in the second step.
Okay, that's an interesting analogy. And so one other thing I want to come back to that got mentioned right at the beginning yesterday. Do you think it matters? Do you think we would have had a different calculation if it was the ace of diamonds?
Well, I don't think so, because you can just, like in our calculations, you can just like replace the word ace of spades with the ace of diamonds, because you could just swap out that card and it just wouldn't make a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference even if you have like, if you look at like the two of clubs, if you wanted to. These same probabilities would just occur.
What would be the question you would have to ask with the two of clubs?
So I guess you'd have to ask, do you have at least 1, 2, and then do you have the two of clubs?
Okay.
So you can theoretically do this with every card in the deck.
But they're just using aces and spades here. It's not unique.
Yeah. And so the really interesting thing, and kind of why this is a paradox, is I can ask ace of spades, ace of clubs, ace of hearts, ace of diamonds, and each time I get, about 56%.
Yeah.
But if I ask any ace, then I get
less.
37%. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's weird. It's hard to get intuition about this, but the probabilities sort of change when your question gets more specific.
Yeah.
Even though it's very hard to believe that that's true. But the numbers work out that way. And of course, when we did it with the dice rolls yesterday, we saw kind of geometrically what was going on.
Yeah.
All right. Good work today, guys.